Now, to open up a salon, what I find traveling across the country right now is a lot of stylists inside the industry. They may have a very strong technical basis and background, but sometimes they leave out business senses inside of how this industry works. It is just like opening up any other business, you guys. Understanding the demographics of an area, I think, are really first and foremost one of the most important things to consider. Who is your audience? Who are you going to be looking to bring into your salon? Setting up in the right area. You hear this all the time, location, 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 right? And that is true, because we want to consider who lives in a specific area. What kind of money does that kind of area have to spend inside of extra services like hair care? Is there parking available in the area? Is parking affordable, right? These things can kind of make or break a salon. I've seen beautiful places open up with no parking available for their staff or for their clients. Once you've decided on a location, the next step is facilitating a team. And I can't say this enough. The most important lesson I think I've learned in my 13 years as a stylist in the industry is that you are only as good as the people you run with. And that doesn't just fall into who you run with in your business life, but also who you run with in your personal life, because it all trickles down and follows the same type of cycle with it. So finding people that are like-minded, that are dedicated, that are passionate about what they do, that are positive influences in your life. I mean, we have enough people in our day-to-days that take away from our energies, that spill our cup empty. We have enough of that going on. So inside of our professional lives, we need to find people that lift us up and that we can be inspired and motivated by. If I didn't have some of the team members I have on my creative team that I work with, I probably wouldn't have as much of a force driving behind me to get this mission that we have of getting education out there and available to the industry today. After location, and demographic studies is your team. They've got to be up to par with what you believe and what you're trying to create inside of your salon. Once you have a team established, the next phase is really what's going to make your salon different. What's going to be different about your business than the salon across the street? As I said, it's a competitive market. In Santa Monica alone, there's over 750 salons. So you can kind of get an idea in that little small area right there how much competition is really living there for the stylists in that area and the salon owners as well. What's going to make you different could be offering specialized services. It could be housing a stylist that maybe is a little bit more on the go, working with celebrity clientele, or maybe they're involved in photo shoot and editorial. Maybe you guys offer specialty services that another salon doesn't offer. Maybe you're all organic. Maybe you're just a color-focused salon. Maybe your salon focuses on offering education. Education salons that are known to be hubs for education are very, very popular and seem to attract a lot of fantastic stylists, because everybody wants a path to walk down that's going to lead them somewhere and help grow their businesses. So I definitely think establishing what's going to be different about your salon is the next step. After that, I would have to say, what are you going to carry? Who are you going to run with? You have liquid tool market. It's very important to partner up with somebody who shares your beliefs, who shares your ideas of what a company should stand for, whether it be an organic company line, whether it be a forward-focused company line, whether it be an all-natural company line. There's a lot of different product lines out there, and when you want to research a line and a brand that is going to be affordable for your guests, that's going to attract new clientele. For example, when a salon opens up as a Kerastase salon, like my salon carries in downtown, it's a pretty high-end price point for that product, as we know. It's not a cheap product line, but the demographic of clientele that we're going after, it suits their price point for what they're looking for. And also, just because you're a Kerastase salon, sometimes you'll get clients in that are just there to buy the products because they've gone online and are searching for where they can buy that Kerastase. So they'll come in just to buy the product, and then you can start introducing them to services as well. So a product line that is going to maximize your business is always smart. From there, gosh, where else can we
How do you advertise?
How do you advertise? Oh my goodness. Today's social media marketing has really taken over, and it's made some of the old methods of promoting your salon almost kind of tired and unnecessary. With Facebooks, with the Twitters, with the Instagrams, with the Hairbrained, and all these different types of social media markets that are out there, it's a great way to start getting your name out onto a broad commercial market. Next up, though, I would have to say, there are these new online booking platforms that are coming out in the industry today. One of them's like styleseat.com. There's another one called schedulicity.com. These booking sites don't only offer you an opportunity to promote who you are as a stylist, offer your service menu, showcase your portfolio. They also allow clients to come online and search you in a database. For example, you could set online, a guest could go online and say, well, I live in Woodland Hills and I'd like to find a stylist that's in the area that specializes in color. Color. And all of a sudden, a registry of stylists that are in Woodland Hills that specialize in color are going to come up. They can select you, they can see your prices, your portfolio, they can book an appointment right there online from the booking platform. It generates an email to you, it generates an email back to them, there's a confirmation process that happens, and it's really almost like having your own personal secretary and promotional company backing you at the same time. So styleseat.com or schedulicity.com is going to be a really great way to help promote and build your business, not only to stylists but also to clients as well.
Retaining your clientele.
Retaining, customer retention. You know, this can sometimes be, especially with these booking platforms out there, not booking, but discount platforms like Groupon. Have you guys heard of that? The Groupon, say maybe some of us have tried it before. I gotta tell you, and this is a personal opinion, of course, I almost feel like Groupon's kind of killing the industry a bit, the business of it all. Because they'll release, thousands of, different deals for different salons a day, and all our guests are doing out there now is they're getting trained to find the deal that they can go in and do one time for, 75% off, and then instead of rebooking with this person, they're going to find the next Groupon for the next 75% off, and they're jumping and jumping and jumping to salon to salon to salon. And while salon owners will think, oh, this is helping me get more people in my salon, what it's realistically doing is it's just bringing in people who want a deal from you. And they're not planning on retaining their business with you, they're just looking for a deal. So inside of retention, first and foremost, you have to be able to listen to your guests when they're in the chair. The consultation process, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest part of what I do aside from working with the tools, the scissors and the combs, etc. It's talking with our guests, discovering what they are there for. I talk about this in all the classes I do around the country. We spend so much time inside the salon talking with our guests about the wrong things. So much time. Where'd you get your shoes? How was your weekend? Where did you and your husband go for dinner last week? Did you watch the latest episode of Honey Boo Boo? Whatever the case may be, we have all this conversation with our guests in the salon that has nothing to do with while they're there. Talk to me a little bit about your styling routine in the morning. How are you working with your hair? What types of products are you using, and how are you using those products? You say you have a heavy spot in your crown and your hair seems to be really flat. Here's the product that we're going to be recommending you use today. Show me how you use it. A lot of times they're going to take it and get about this close to their head and go, shh, why is my hair heavy? Right? They're usually the cause of their own challenges, but the challenges could be solved through us asking the right questions and talking about the right things and discovering why and how we can help make their lives better. So retention is not just about being the best technically, but it's being the best dialogue communicator that you can have in your salon. And that is the strongest tool you can have is your word of mouth, and you're talking and you're investigating and prescribing solutions to the challenges that they have. That's the best thing for retention out there. That's how you make yourself valuable.
What about your employees? How do you keep them motivated?
Keeping employees motivated is kind of just like, it's kind of like you have to remember what you were what would have kept you motivated and inspired while you were working for somebody. You want a clear and direct path of where you're going to go. Establishing a career path for your team, saying that when you come into my salon, you're going to start here. You might start off as an assistant. You might start off as a stylist. If you start off as an assistant, we're going to be committing ourselves to training you once a week, once every 2 weeks, etc., etc. And once you complete your training with us, you're then going to be a stylist. And you're going to go from making this much money as an assistant to this much as a stylist. But once you get on the floor as a stylist, that's just the beginning. You've trained up until this point. So throughout the rest of throughout the next year while you're with us, we're going to set measurements and markers for you. When you hit these measurements and markers, certain amounts of retail sold consistently every month, certain amount of service dollars made every month, certain amount of clients that are returning and retaining and staying with you every month. You set measures and markers for your team members, and as they achieve their goals, you continually rise them up the ladder. So they go from maybe making 35-40% up to making 45%, up to making 47%, up to making 50%, and it just kind of puts them on a path of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. Education is the best way to keep your staff motivated as they're working through, as long as you're keeping it documented and tracked with measures and markers to help them see their success. I mean, think about it. You feel better about what you're doing when you can see the steps you're taking getting you somewhere. And in the workplace, it's the exact same idea and concept. Keep your employees excited is offering creative events. Let them kind of think outside the box, and maybe one of your employees has an idea to bring a photographer in and have a photo shoot night where you guys maybe serve some drinks and hors d'oeuvres, you bring in some models and a photographer, and you guys have a fun night of taking photos and styling hair to promote the salon on your Facebook wall. All these things kind of go into creating inspiration and excitement for your team while still serving a purpose of building your business as a salon owner. Yes.
You said you worked internationally. Is it true if you have a license in 3 states, you have an international license?
No, as a matter of fact, I was surprised at this as well. I left the United States when I was 21, and I jumped over to Brussels, Belgium, and I got on board with Tony and Guy while I was in Brussels. I worked for them as a haircutting instructor at their salon academy in Brussels, Belgium. And when I got there, I had just gotten done with cosmetology school probably like 2 years prior. And so I was all proud and excited to have my license and my diploma, right? I had my diploma and my license. So I went into the salon, started to tell them about what I was looking to do. Bless you. What I was looking to do and where I wanted to go. Told them, oh yeah, I just got licensed in the state of California. Licensed? What are you talking about? My license. I went to school, 1,600 hours of training, sanitation, disinfection, finger waving, I earned this.
They don't have a license.
That means nothing here. You don't need a license. It's more based off of the apprenticeship kind of role, to where you can move into a salon, you apprentice under somebody for a certain amount of time, you train, you get real life experience, and then you start working as a stylist when they say you're ready. It's interesting, that's how UK does it as well. That's how it's done in London, and there's benefits to both sides of it, really. I mean, I've seen very successful cosmetology school experiences for people that have taken the program, and it has really helped propel them through their career. And I've seen people who have gone through, not stepped foot in the school, and just done the apprenticing, who have done amazing too. But it's kind of a self-propelled program, and when you don't, sometimes with certain types of people, when you don't have that time clock to punch in on, and you don't have that accountability, I guess I'll say, you can get off track pretty easily. There's a lot of things that work really, really well in Europe, and if you tried to bring them over here to the United States, we would all just go into chaos.
What kind of advice would you give to someone who's first starting out?
First starting out, I think the best piece of advice I can give you is dedication and passion are going to be what propels you through this industry. Dedication and passion. If you are not dedicated to it, if you don't give it all that you have, if you are not passionate about it, if you don't love what you do every single day, you're going to fall off the wayside. So be consistent, be dedicated, and guys, ladies, gentlemen, know that in the beginning, when you first start off, it's a rough ride in the beginning. It can be a bumpy ride. It can be scary at times. You don't really know where you're going to go. You don't really know who's going to offer you what you're looking for. You don't really know what direction, what path, what steps to take. You're not sure if somebody's going to bring you into a salon and just use you as a house cleaner, right? Sweeping and shampooing all day long, never really experiencing. I mean, it's a scary process. I've fallen on my face more than I have walked into the sun. Does that make sense? It's a process of the more you fall down, the more you get up. The more you get up, the more you learn how not to fall down like that again. I've had just as many projects, just as many attempts. Yeah, there's been some amazing things, working for Tony and Guy as an educator, teaching for Fidelsa soon, becoming, art director for Ergo Tools. There's been some amazing accomplishments, but for every one of those, there's been 5 things that didn't work out. But I didn't give up. You know why? Because I love what I do. I love this industry. Sometimes it hasn't even, in the earlier years, it didn't even pay my bills. Okay, I want to be honest. But you know what? I love it. And it's worth it. And the more I kept pushing forward, and every time I thought, my power is going to get turned off next month. Earlier on in my career, I'm not going to have anywhere to stay. I can't put gas in my car to get to my next class. I used to work for Paul Mitchell Systems. I would teach 15 classes across the California every month because I just wanted to be in front of stylists and practice talking and practice presenting. But you know what? Somehow I made it through it. And at the end of the day, the reward that I feel inside from saying I didn't give up, I kept pushing forward, I fell, I realized I fell, I assessed why I fell, I got up, dusted myself off, pulled up your bootstraps, and you keep walking forward. That's really what's going to make or break you in this industry, is your dedication to it all and your passion about it.
How did you recruit stylists for your salon?
Currently, being a new salon, we just opened up, we did a little bit of headhunting. We found some really hot stylists that we knew were working in the greater Los Angeles area, and we sent them an email and said, hey, we're opening up a new salon, we'd love to talk to you, are you happy with where you're at? That is something that does happen out there. From there, since they brought me on board and I've opened up my network to myself being there, it's kind of been more simple at this time. Now we're getting just applications and resumes because I'm putting little pictures of my salon, or my guests are checking in saying they're there, and people are like, oh, where are you at? I'd like to come work there. Where are you at? Are you doing education? Can I work there too? So that's why we had to open up 2 of those chairs to hourly rental bookings, so just more people can just come in and experience. You don't want to put up a Craigslist ad. You know what I mean? You kind of want to go, to the places where you think you would be able to attract hot and happening people. Trade shows are great places to meet people that are interested, dedicated, and excited about the craft. Because if they're there, they're spending the extra money to go to that trade show, then they probably have a little bit more gusto for their career path. Finding out what salons are working around in an area, and really, I would love to go into, I used to do this a lot. I would go into a salon, I would not say a word about who or what I was, and I'd go get my head shaved, or go get a shave, or whatever I was doing at that time. And I would sit there and I'd watch the stylist in the salon. I'd be like, who's doing what? Who's busy? Who's not? How are they talking to their guests? How are they working with their client? Are they confident? You know what I mean? Those kinds of tricks usually are a great way to start recruiting and finding new people.
The financial aspect. I have students who want to open the salon right away. They're ready. Where do they get the money? Do they partner with somebody? Do they do it alone?
Partnerships.
No.
Partnerships can be extremely delicate, challenging situations. It's kind of hard having 2 cooks in one kitchen. Especially hairdressers. We're very passionate. We're very opinionated. We have very clear, focused ideas of what we think our business should be. Whether it's the decor on the walls, how we train our staff, the product we carry, you would be amazed about how many things can come up inside of a partnership. Loans at this point, in my personal opinion, are the way to go. I would have it financed through a bank. I would make a proposal together, put together a business plan, propose it to the bank, and try and get a loan if you can. I find that partnerships, as valuable as they are inside of teamwork in the industry, when you really have a set vision of building a business, it's got to be your own as much as it can. I mean, unless you're married to the person you're opening up a business with, which is really challenging too, right? But it can work. I mean, look at Sonia and Christopher Dove from Wella. They're amazing. They're a partnership. They have their salon. They live together. They have a life together. They teach together. It can work, but realistically, it's going to be a lot more challenging, and you need to be really prepared to compromise what you want. You need to be prepared to listen to your partner. You need to be prepared to stand your ground with your partner at times. I started my education company, OC Network Productions, with a partner, and now I'm a sole entity. It lasted about 1.5 years, and unfortunately, because our visions were just so completely different, we're still friends, but the business side of things had to be put to rest. You know, guys, sometimes it's okay to have your own sandbox. Okay.
One last question. Own or rent?
The space.
Uh-huh.
In today's market, I would have to say you can really probably get away with both. You really can get away with both in today's market. You know, it's so competitive out there right now. There's so much open space commercially. They are trying to facilitate lease-to-own opportunities at a much lower price point. I mean, sometimes you can get in there paying first and last month, maybe paying an extra couple $100s on top of your rent to go towards owning that business, and in 3 years you might find yourself owning the business while not having to take a whole chunk of money out of your pocket and lay it on the table. So that can actually be a nice relationship to have.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yes.
So I'm getting ready to take my state board in about a month, and I'm kind of intimidated by like the hiring and interview process in salons. Like it's your like first thing out there. So like, what kind of things can someone like me expect, and like what would salon owners or people hiring be expecting?
Now I do a lot of hiring myself. My other business that I have, Flex Salon Concept, we have 8 salons in California. We have a new salon opened up in New York, so I'm dealing with a lot of influx of stylists that are coming in and wanting to work for us. Me personally, I think that the things that owners are looking at most is, how do you look? You know, in blue jeans and flip-flops. And unfortunately, regardless of their resume, I can't really give them my full confidence, because you got to dress the important thing. You know, show up wearing all black. I know it kind of gets tiring after a while because it's all we live in black, right? Throw a scarf on, right? Professional, well dressed, makeup put together, hair put together. They want to see you looking good when you come in. Confidence is key. You know, there's nothing better than good eye contact and a great handshake in the beginning of any interview. You know, there's a few different types of handshakes. Come here real quick, then. There's a few different kinds of handshakes that you can really introduce. This is kind of silly, but really, this is something that you think about when you're meeting people for the first time. You know, we have the limp fish. Hi, very nice to meet you. Kind of just loosely grabbing the hand. It's, yeah, right? You can tell this person doesn't have a lot of confidence in themselves. Next shake, right? Hi, nice to meet you. Full grip, nice and strong, not too firm, not too soft, right? That's a great one for meeting owners. This is one of my personal favorites. I call this the congressman. This is when you take your hand and take your other hand and bring it on top, look them in the eyes. Hi, nice to meet you, right? You'll see this if you watch television, watch a senator or a congressman shake hands. You will see them do this every time. It's empowering and it's confident behind it. Now the final one, which is my personal favorite, this is what the president does. This is the presidential handshake, right? This is the Obama. Hi, nice to meet you. This is a dominating, owning handshake right here. You do this to somebody, you own them right there. There's a lot of confidence that comes out of that. He did it to Romney during the presidential debate last week. It was great. He was just like, boom, hi, you're mine, right? So a good handshake is going to be fantastic. Your resume needs to be simple and clean. You know, it's at this point as a future professional going into the industry, you just want to list your contact information, your schooling information, any extracurricular activities you were involved in, and references and contacts. Your instructors are fantastic references. After that point, now, a lot of times we go into these interviews thinking like, like I gotta perform for them. Nowadays you need to know what they're gonna do for you as an assistant. Are you gonna be bringing me in to shampoo and sweep? Or are you bringing me in to shampoo, sweep, assist, train, learn the parts of the business, learn the front desk, learn how to mix color, learn how to work on a time frame? Like, you want inside the salon for you, or if you're just going to be this role you're getting hired onto. You know, nowadays you have a lot more choices as a future professional moving into the industry. So you can go through and be a little more picky and choosy about what they're going to be able to offer you throughout your work with them. So confidence, look the part, good handshake, solid resume, and be yourself.
If somebody doesn't know if they want to specialize in anything, how would you maybe help them decide if they should specialize? You
know, specialization, I've worked in a few different companies where some of them are, you know, Sassoon, I could only cut hair. Couldn't do anything else. They made you cut hair. That's all you could do. Paul Mitchell, we cut and we color. Tony and Guy, we tend to specialize a little bit more. It's kind of European felt as well. You either cut or you color. It was easy for me earlier on to decide I wanted to really, if I had to choose, I'd focus on cutting just because that's kind of what excited me personally when I was behind the chair. But, you know, I really think it's important to be well-rounded. You know, because even today, while I do specialize in cutting at my salon downtown, I'm not going to turn down a highlight. That's a, that can be an additional $135, $150 person that would sit in my chair, and I would hate to say, I don't know how to do that. And I work on color, I work on men, I work on women, I do children. I love working on children. They're fantastic, they're fun. You have to have a certain kind of patience for it, most definitely, because there's a lot of this going on. But I love working on straight hair, multi-textured hair, tight curly hair. I really have trained myself to be as open and adaptive to anything that I possibly can, so that way I never have to turn anything down. And then you can decide to specialize later on depending on what your business is doing and where the money is.
I know you touched upon it before, but you were saying with the Groupon and stuff like that, you as a business, since you know that's what's happening with Groupon and social living and all that stuff, how are you
Combating it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't believe that it's beneficial. I had a salon that I worked at, and we did facials and all that, and it ended up that we got totally,
Overbooked. Your regular clients couldn't get in anymore. It's a nightmare, isn't it? To combat these things, I think inside of your marketing of your services nowadays, we just have to be a little bit more clever and crafty and competitive with what's happening. Example, I'm a firm believer that you don't discount your work. I'm not into the 20% off first-time clients. I'm not into, 25% off your haircut if you get a color. I don't like discounting my work because, you see, what we do, you guys, is we train our guests and we develop their habits for them. We really do. And so by discounting your work, you start to harvest a crowd that is always expecting you to give them something off. They're always going to, what else can you give me? What else can you give me? I really find that by sticking true to your service menu prices and giving services away, you can compete with these. And what I mean is, I would be happy to give away a haircut to somebody who just came in and got a full highlight hair color experience with me. They paid, the $150 for the color experience. That haircut is just going to make that color look that much better when they leave. And this might be something I offer to first-time guests only, right? I might find that offering, complimentary eyebrow waxing with a haircut could be a great thing to give away. A complimentary basic manicure with any chemical service. Offering customers an opportunity to feel like they're getting something out of the experience that's extra, but at the same time not devaluing what you do. Because when you give something away to somebody, it's exciting, it's special. When you constantly are giving them little breaks here and there, it becomes expected. And so I would have to say that we need to stop discounting our work to compete with these things and thinking that by lowering our prices it's going to get more people to come in. We're going to get the wrong kind of people to come in. We want the right kind of people to come in. And those right kind of people, I'm more, like I said, I'm more apt to give them away a haircut service with a chemical treatment. If they're spending a little money, let's give them a little something back to make them feel special. Yes? Yeah.
For example, you cater more to the area that has executives in it, professionals, you're right in the heart. Did you research how many salons were in that area before you even selected, I'm gonna go to the 9th floor? Like, you're...
There was nothing there.
Yeah, like, how did you
There's
get people
nothing.
to know I'm up here on the 9th floor?
It's funny. There's nothing downtown. There's not a high-end salon experience. The closest thing I found down there was an Aveda salon, and that Aveda salon was not living up to the Aveda. I love Aveda as a company. I think they're amazing. They have fantastic salons, schools, and products. But that particular salon is just not working up to that standard. So it was really kind of easy to decide we need to be downtown because there's nothing there. The downtown area is being revitalized and new breath is being breathed in there. New lofts, new professional buildings, new businesses are opening up everywhere. And so it made perfect sense that we needed to tackle that territory. We did do, yes, we do look and see what salons are there, how they're doing, what kind of clientele they're harvesting. I walk around, I go into salons, I sit, I watch, definitely did that. And how do we let people know we're on the 9th floor? You know, besides my own megaphone that I have online that seems to help out a lot with a lot of things, we do have a marketing and promotions person, a PR person with our salon. The gentleman who opened up our salon is a independently wealthy businessman who owns a few different apparel fashion distribution companies internationally. So he has a bit of disposable income to invest in the salon. As I said, 4,400 square feet, and every piece of everything in that building is custom made, from the chair to the shampoo bowl to the counter. It's insane.